Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So yeah, it was reported today that Cotto versus Rodriguez received the highest ratings on a non-televised boxing match this year so far. That's very impressive. It just goes to show you guys how large the sport of boxing is, especially in contrast to the UFC. You know, the boxing events, they always generate better ratings, bigger numbers. The only difference with the UFC is they put on shows every single month. They put on pay-per-views every single month. So anyway, let me go ahead and get back to boxing. I want to make a little admission right now because apparently before Miguel Cotto received the highest ratings, it was reported that Chavez versus Vera, the Chavez versus Vera card, received the highest ratings of the year up until Miguel Cotto topped that. Now, I have to admit, when I first heard that Bob Arum said that Chavez Vera or the Chavez Vera card received the highest ratings so far up until this point, I didn't believe Bob Arum because the motherfucker cries woof so often. In other words, almost everything that comes out of his mouth is a fucking lie. He gonna sit over here and he gonna say that when Floyd Mayweather is going to jail, he's building an arena for the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight that won't be ready, coincidentally, till Floyd Mayweather turns himself in. He lied about the Universal Olympic testing for Tim Bradley. You know, so he lies about a lot of shit, so I didn't believe him. But now that I've read the reports and it's been proven that it's true, now I know that it's the truth, okay? Now, the difference from the Chavez-Vera fight and the Cotto fight is, of course, Miguel Cotto, he filled the arena. It was reported in the same article that I was reading that with the Chavez-Vera fight, they said half of the seats were empty. And not only that, but it had a very strong doubleheader on the card as well, co-main event, Adonis Stevens versus Tavares Cloud, which was a real big fight that a lot of people wanted to watch. And coincidentally, Adonis Stevens, he filled up a huge arena where he was fighting in his hometown. So, you know, but at the same time, we got to give congratulations to both of these fighters for still being able to generate big numbers. It's very unfortunate for Chavez because he has the Mexican built-in fan base and he has the name to go with it, but he does not have the skill and talent to sustain and take advantage of that built-in fan base. You know, he's as far as I'm concerned, he's kind of like Victor Ortiz and Fernando Vargas when it comes to fighters that have the potential to be huge stars, but because they don't have the skill, it doesn't last. And it becomes temporary. I mean, would you rather have a phone that only has 500 minutes, or would you rather have a phone that has unlimited minutes? And that's the difference between someone like a Chavez as opposed to someone like a Floyd Mayweather. A person who can continue to win and continue to generate the big numbers over and over and over again. I mean, obviously, that's what you want to do. And like I said, Floyd Mayweather is one of the very rare fighters that could do that. Like I told you guys before, a lot of times when a superstar, or not even, you don't even have to be a superstar, but when a fighter gets to the point to where they really starting to make a lot of money, where they're starting to have the highest views and et cetera, this is usually around the time that they start to lose. That's why I brought up Fernando Vargas, because when he was undefeated, you know, if Fernando would have kept winning, he would have been a humongous star because they were already making him a big star. All right, he was selling out arenas. He was going to Chicago and all kind of places. Like I said, he had a tremendous built-in Mexican fan base, and he was big. But the problem was he didn't have the skill to go with the star power. And that's what you have to have. You have to have both. You have to have the skill and you have to have the star power. So, like I said, fighters like Chavez, he's going to meet his demise very soon. He's not going to be around for too long because he doesn't have the skill and he lacks the discipline to be a serious fighter. You know, like I said before, I found it very interesting that Chavez, he was fighting against a brawler. And what's so crazy is Chavez is an inside fighter. He's an aggressive fighter. So why is as soon as Chavez fights a fighter who's fighting the way he does, all of a sudden he gets on his bicycle and his big ass is moving around the ring? And once again, this is what I told you guys before. People like to look at Floyd Mayweather stand right in front of you and say he's running. There is a difference between running and footwork. When you're just moving around the ring and you don't know what the next thing you're going to do is, that is what you call running. When you just subtle movements to the left, to the right, setting people up and punching at the same time, that's footwork. Okay? So, yeah, man, back to Miguel Cotto. Congratulations to him for showing that he is still a humongous draw in the sport. This just goes to show you that Miguel Cotto versus Sergio Martinez, Miguel Cotto versus Canelo Alvarez would be a huge fight. All right? And like I said, either one of those fights, I'm looking forward to watching. I would much rather see Cotto versus Canelo Alvarez. But like I told you guys before, truly, I believe it or not, Cotto has a better chance fighting the bigger Sergio Martinez. And I started to explain why that is right now, but instead, I'm just going to wait to see if the fight gets made, and then I will completely break down why I believe Cotto would have a better chance, against Sergio Martinez. That's not right now to suggest that I'm saying that he's going to beat Sergio. I'm just saying he would have a better chance. He would look better against Sergio Martinez. In my last post-fight video with Miguel Cotto, I told you guys one thing I really like about Miguel Cotto is when you see him being humble, respectful, you can tell that it's really sincere. It's not the fake type of being humble. It's not that type of humbleness where you say something right now and then as soon as you get home or as soon as you talk to some reporters later on, you start hating on a dude you just lost to, or you just start hating for whatever the reason is. Miguel Cotto is a real dude. He's always telling the truth and he's always sincere. I also said in that video, you have a lot of guys who try to put on that same respectful, humble personality, but the shit is fake. Like Canelo Alvarez, for example. For those of you guys who don't know, he just did a recent interview where he basically said, the only thing I was taught in the fight is not to give anyone a weight advantage. Talking about the 2 pounds that he had to lose, right? Because see, before he was talking about how it was an advantage. He was talking about if I come in at 152, I'm gonna be quicker. I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna be that. Talking about how great he felt, saying that he was born ready and all this shit. And then when he got interviewed at the end of the fight, he had almost nothing but positive things to say. All that Canelo Alvarez said in the interview was, we just had no solution. We could not hit him. We couldn't land punches, etc., etc. So now all of a sudden, now this shit done died down. Now that he done ran into a lot of dumbass fans who tried to help him and defend him, now he's going to sound like a dumbass and be disrespectful and get on the damn microphone and say some shit like that. That is fucking disrespectful. You take your loss like a fucking man. Stop pouting and crying, making excuses. Stop being a sore loser and just come back stronger next time. There ain't no reason for you to be disrespectful. And like I said, this is the reason why Miguel Cotto is the truth. This is why he's real. Because Miguel Cotto, he doesn't do this shit if he loses. If Miguel loses, it doesn't care what circumstances he lost under. He's going to say, that guy was the better man. And that's just all is to it. And that's what it's supposed to be. Like I told you guys before, boxing is so different than every other sport because people are so far more emotionally attached, even the fighters. You go back and you watch basketball, and when a basketball team loses, there are no excuses. They just say, tonight wasn't our night. The other team, they had some really good offense, some really good defense, etc., blah, blah, blah. That's how it's done in the more professional sports. But with this sport over here, you got to have pride. And you got to have something stupid to say, well, just the ignorant people do, not people like Miguel Cotto. So I was really disappointed with Canelo Alvarez when I found out that he was finally making excuses, especially when you're making excuses that don't make sense. For those of you guys who don't know, Canelo Alvarez, he came in the weighing in 152 in the Austin Trout fight as well. So that completely debunks you making a dumbass excuse. Canelo Alvarez, he put on a good performance for at least what he was up against. But the reality of it all is he was losing the fight from round 1 to the last bell. And Canelo, he looked better losing to Mayweather than he did when he fought against Trout. And like I said again, when he fought against Trout, he weighed in at the same 152 pounds. But of course, Canelo forgets to mention that he had a 15-pound weight advantage over Floyd Mayweather. But he want to talk about the fact that he had to lose 2 pounds the day before the fight, just so he could turn back around, go home, eat whatever the fuck he want, and gain 15 pounds. You over here 13 years younger, and I'm hearing people say, oh man, he did pretty good to only be 23. Only 23? Floyd Mayweather is damn near 37. He closer to 40 years old. And like I said before, guys, imagine if Floyd Mayweather was 23. The same 23-year-old who annihilated Diego Corrales, who had beat, at the time, Angel Manfredi, Gennaro Hernandez, and beat him simple and easy. And this was a Mayweather who was quicker and stronger because he was closer to his natural weight. Imagine if that Floyd Mayweather was fighting against a 36-year-old Canelo Alvarez that was smaller than Floyd Mayweather, right? Imagine who will win that fight. We know good and damn well who will win that fight, and win it very fucking easy. The only difference is, in that situation, Floyd Mayweather would have most likely knocked Canelo out. All right? So excuses, excuses, excuses. Just fucking beat the man. Quit making all these damn excuses. Anyway, guys, that's all I got on this one. I'm on to the next one.